Hello, listeners, and welcome to Boomerang. This is Team 4 bringing you the news taken with permission from the Courier published on the 16th of May 2024. And our readers today are Jackie, Kate, Alison, and Joyce. Margaret and Joan will be along later to do the copying and distribution, and Harry is our recording engineer. As usual, there will be 4 parts. Part 1 will be general news. Part 2 will include family announcements. Part 3 has more general news and the quiz. And in Part 4, we will include some sports items and those all-important answers to the quiz. We have seen a very mixed bag of weather over the past week or so. A bit of rain and har brought in and a chilly easterly breeze. But there has been some glorious sunshine too. The countryside is looking very fresh, especially the trees in their many shades of green. May is really a beautiful month. So, now let's get started with the lead story from the Courier this week and Kate.
Friend bludgeoned with hammer. Life in prison for pal killer. Victim hit 9 or 10 times on the head with weapon. By court reporter. A man who murdered his friend after they fell out with each other has been given a life sentence for the brutal crime. John Young, 33, struck James Hines, 46, on the head with a hammer 9 or 10 times as he lay on the ground at Jackson Place in Livingston on July 21, 2023. The High Court in Edinburgh heard how Young had fallen out with Haynes over various issues earlier in that month. Prosecutor Colin Edward told Judge Lady Haldane that Mr. Hines was in bed with his partner when Young started banging loudly on the window of the property. Mr. Edward said he was very intoxicated. James Hines woke up and went outside. The deceased was heard on the CCTV shouting and swearing at the accused as he walked towards him. Mr. Edwards continued, "A fight ensued. James Hines was armed with a hammer. He struck the accused with the hammer. At one point in the fight, the accused wrestled the hammer from James Hines. The fight ended with the deceased lying on the ground and the accused walking away holding the hammer. The accused then walked back towards James Hines saying, 'I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you.' He struck James Hines on the head and body 9 or 10 times with a hammer as he lay on the ground. The accused then walked away." The story emerged after Young, also of Livingston, pleaded guilty last month to murdering Mr. Hines in a hearing held before Lady Haldane. Passing sentence on Tuesday, Lady Haldane told Young he'd have to serve at least 15 years before he'd become eligible for parole. She had been told that Mr. Hines's family were grieving the loss of their loved one. She said, "This was a brutal attack in which you used a hammer on a man who was lying on the ground. There is nothing I can say or do which can truly reflect their loss or the pain that they have suffered. I set the punishment part at 1 of 15 years. At earlier proceedings, Mr. Edward told the court that the attack was captured on CCTV cameras and that the footage would be played to her. Mr. Edwards told the court that Mr. Hines' partner found him lying in the street and calling for an ambulance. The medics found him alive but with severe head injuries. The court heard that doctors at Edinburgh Royal Infirmary found Mr. Hines had multiple skull fractures with bleeding and bruising on his brain. Mr. Edwards said that Mr. Hines suffered a large bleed on the brain in August 17, 2023, which led to global irreversible brain injury. He added, on August 19, 2023, after discussions with his family, life support was withdrawn. He died later that day. On Tuesday, defence advocate Mrs. McCall told the court that her client had suffered many adverse childhood experiences and that he had tried to cope with this by self-medicating with drink and drugs. She said that Young was sorry for taking Mr. Hines' life.
J to run North Coast 500 in 10-day mega challenge. A West Lothian man is aiming to become only the 4th person to run the picturesque North Coast 500, that's the NC 500, route for charity. Jay Doig will also be the youngest person to undertake an extraordinary challenge to support 2 crucial charities, Barnardo's and SAMH. Over the course of approximately 10 days, Jay from Whitburn, who turns 23 on the day he sets off, will cover over 500 miles, averaging between 50 to 70 miles per day through a combination of running and walking. The NC 500, renowned for its stunning landscapes and challenging terrain of the North Highlands, presents a formidable test of endurance. Jay's determination to conquer this route not only showcases his personal resilience, but also serves as a beacon of hope and inspiration for the community. He starts the gruelling endeavour. In fact, he has started the gruelling endeavour, which was yesterday, the 16th of May, and aims to complete the route in under 10 days, which means covering around 50 to 70 miles a day. Jay said, "I've always felt the need to push myself both mentally and physically beyond the ordinary. While many races in Scotland are over and done within a day, I wanted a challenge that was more enduring, something that hopefully resonates with people. The NC 500 seemed like the perfect fit. It's a route that many people drive, and I wanted to show that even on foot, it's an experience worth undertaking. I was torn between the Scottish National Trail and the NC 500, but ultimately I chose the latter because of its accessibility and the opportunity to provide the experience and for me to experience some of Scotland's most beautiful landscapes at a slower pace. If my attempt at this challenge can inspire just one person to step out of their comfort zone and push their own boundaries, then I'll consider it a successful journey." Jay added, "I chose to support Barnardo's and SAMH during my NC 500 run because both charities address issues that are close to my heart. Barnardo's work with vulnerable children and young people across the UK, providing them with essential services and support to help them thrive. SAMH is dedicated to providing support and resources for mental health in Scotland, which is an issue that affects so many people. By supporting these charities, I hope to make a positive impact and raise awareness for these important causes during my NC 500 journey. To donate, please visit www.jaydoig, that's jaydoig.co.uk. And there is a photograph of Jay in full stride, and he's running beside a loch. Beautiful blue sky. It's a lovely day. There's some white fluffy clouds there. And there's Jay running. He's got a hat on his head. He's got his shades on and looking very determined. And we wish him all the luck.
Council homes in for £8.2 million facelift by Debbie Hall. West Lothian council bosses say the maintenance and improvement of existing council homes remains a key priority. Around £8.2 million is being invested until the end of March next year. That includes the installation of new kitchens and bathrooms, window and door refurbishments and renewals, stair upgrades, fencing programmes and high-value repairs. The programme can be seen in action in Bridgend, where 82 council properties have been benefiting from window and door refurbishments and renewals, and a further 102 properties are planned. There are 377 full window and door upgrades planned across West Lothian, with approximately £2.76 million allocated towards achieving this during this financial year. Windows and door upgrades are essential to keep properties in compliance with the Scottish Housing Quality Standard and contribute towards meeting energy efficiency standard for social housing. The window replacement element of the programme requires specialist operatives within C.R. Smith appointed as contractors following a tendering process. Executive Councillor for Housing Services, George Paul, visited properties in Bridgend alongside representatives from the Council's Building Services and C.R. Smith to see work being carried out firsthand. Councillor Paul said, "The maintenance and improvement of council properties is of vital importance to West Lothian Council, and significant investment has been committed to the same. I was pleased to have the chance to see the work in action in Bridgend and hear from tenants how pleased they were with the work carried out by building services staff and partners. Council tenants will be contacted to notify of any upcoming work or checks for their property and will often be asked to arrange for operatives to be allowed access to the property to allow them to carry out the essential work." Councillor Paul added, "Tenants are asked that should they receive a notification from Building Services regarding any capital programme works or essential maintenance checks to please arrange for access for operatives to safely carry out the work." And the story is accompanied by a photograph captioned, "Seeing clearly." Executive Councillor for Housing Services George Paul joined representatives from the Council's Building Services and C.R. Smith on site at Bridgend, where the window and door replacement programme is well underway. And the picture shows a semi-detached house with lots of people standing in the garden. So there's Councillor Paul and people from C.R. Smith wearing their high-vis vests. There's a lot of equipment in the foreground of the picture, and at the back you can see the house has got its windows obscured, ready to go in, or maybe these are the new ones. It's quite hard to tell in this photograph.
Bangor Village Hospital latest. New shop plans set for green light. Proposal includes pavilion, by Debbie Hall. Plans for a new shops and a community pavilion on the site of a former abandoned West Lothian asylum are set to be granted. As well as the ongoing construction of nearly 1,000 new homes at Bangor Village Hospital and the nearby Decmont, plans were submitted earlier this year for several retail units, replacing several listed buildings. A new cafe/restaurant could also be constructed on the site, as well as a community pavilion with tennis courts and an energy centre. With plans already approved for a residential development, West Lothian Council planning officers have recommended proposals for as many 11 retail units be granted ahead of a meeting next week. A summary of the plans included in the meeting's agenda detail how some of the site's listed buildings would be demolished and replaced with a new structure for shops and a community facility. A district heating plant would also be built, and the north and west wing of the boiler house complex at the front of the development site could be retained and redeveloped. In addition, the listed Honeysuckle Cottage will be retained and extended to form a cafe or restaurant. The existing shop on the site, which is in a state of disrepair, will be demolished and replaced with a community pavilion designed to reflect the character and key features of the old shop. Planning officers have recommended proposals for as many as 11 retail units be granted. Plans were approved in July 2022 to build over 900 homes, a primary school, shops and leisure facilities on the site of the former asylum, which was a magnet for urban developers. The plans also included a new single-stream primary school, potentially including the reuse of the hospital's former recreation hall, repair or replacement of the cricket pavilion and retention of a local village shop. Before the village hospital became the main institution for the country, it formed part of the much larger Edinburgh War Hospital servicing many patients. The temporary wartime space was highly praised for its burns and plastic surgery unit throughout the Second World War, as it was established in 1940. Following this, the village hospital was renamed as Bangor General Hospital, and acted mostly as a maternity facility and a psychiatric institution. The last remaining ward, the psychiatric ward, which closed down in 2004, with its total citing, the reason this specific ward stayed open was down to the amount of inpatients that the asylum held. Summarising their decision to grant new plans for shops and a central pavilion, council planners wrote, "In summary, the proposal is accepted in terms of design and layout and will not have any negative impact on the setting of listed buildings and the Bangor Village Hospital conservation area. Further discussions is required in relation to ecological surveys." And this actually includes a picture of almost a shop front, beautifully set out with a dental practice in it, and is headed "Grand Design. Council planners recommend approval of the plan."
Nature calls for council as it backs toilet flushing advice. West Lothian Council is backing Scottish Water's campaign to encourage people to stop flushing incorrect items down the toilet. Every year, flushing incorrect materials down your toilet or sink can result in thousands of pounds worth of damage and harms our natural environment. Every year, Scottish Water teams attend over 36,000 blockages in drains and sewers, which could cause flooding in homes and neighbourhoods, pollute rivers, burns and coastal waters. 80% of these blockages are caused by people flushing the wrong items down the toilet, such as wet wipes, or pouring fats, oil and grease down the sink. Private homeowners and businesses have to pay for blockages on their own properties, and for social landlords like West Lothian Council and local housing associations, it can mean vital funds that could have spent improving the housing stock has to be used on repairs instead. Prevent potential damage to your home and the environment by having a look at their Nature Calls campaign, featuring hints and tips on what you should and shouldn't be flushing down your toilet or putting down your sink at www.scottishwater.co.uk.
Drivers warned of roadworks on M8 until end of the month. The westbound carriageway of the M8 after Junction 3 at Livingston will be closed for resurfacing each night until Tuesday, May the 28th, between the hours of 8:30pm and 6am. Transport Scotland's operating company, Bear Scotland, will carry out the works, renewing a 3.2 kilometres of surfacing. During the works, a signed diversion route for westbound traffic will be in place between M8 junctions 3 and 3A via the A899, A89 and A779. This diversion will add approximately 7 minutes and 1 mile to affected journeys. Due to the depth of construction, Lane 1 and Lane 2 remained closed all day from Friday to Sunday, May the 10th to the 12th, to allow adequate material cooling time. However, 2 lanes were remained in operation at all times, with traffic running on the hard shoulder and Lane 3. Tommy Deans, Bear Scotland's South East Network manager, said motorists using the M8 will benefit from smoother, safer journeys following these works, with the road surface set to be renewed over more than 3 kilometres of the westbound carriageway. It's essential for safety that we close this section of carriageway while resurfacing takes place. We've scheduled the works at night to minimise disruption. However, we appreciate that this will cause delays for some people and thank the public in advance for their patience and understanding. If you need to use the westbound M8 at night on these dates, our advice is to plan ahead and allow some extra time for your journey.
Grant is open for uniforms. A fund that provides school uniforms and other essentials for struggling West Lothian families is open ahead of the new term starting in August. The school clothing grant applications for the academic year 2024/2025 are now open on West Lothian Council's website. Primary school children receive £150 per child, while high school children receive £180 per child. A council spokesperson said, even if you didn't qualify before, there have been many adjustments, so you may now be eligible. We encourage you to apply. If you're entitled to the grant but still struggling financially, we can assist in providing uniforms. We're here to support you. You can access the application information at www.westlothian.gov.uk/meals and clothing.
And that brings us to the end of Part 1. And in Part 2, family announcements will be included. Welcome to Part 2, and we will begin with the family announcements. Blair, Ian Edwin, 10/8/1942 till 24/4/2024. Peacefully at St John's Hospital on Wednesday the 24th of April 2024, Ian, aged 81 years, beloved husband to Christine, cherished dad and father-in-law to John, Johan and Alan, and a treasured granddad and great-granddad to Louise, Chloe, Michaela, Sean Paul and Alfie. Will be deeply missed by all who knew him. Funeral service will be held at West Lothian Crematorium on Tuesday the 21st of May 2024 at 10 a.m, to which all are respectfully invited. Donations towards COPD in lieu of flowers. Paul, Josephine, very peacefully at home on Thursday the 9th of May 2024, Josephine, aged 88 years, beloved wife of the late Alec, a dearly loved mum of John, George, Sandy, Alison and the late Catherine, also a devoted gran and great-gran, now at peace. And Josephine came from Bathgate. Splat, David. Suddenly, on the 1st of May 2024, David, known as Spud, beloved husband of Alison, much-loved dad to Ian, Martin, Leanne and stepdad to Fiona, cherished granddad to April, Elizabeth, Alistair and Felix, a dear brother, uncle, cousin and friend to many, he will be sorely missed. Funeral service to take place at West Lothian Crematorium on Wednesday, May the 29th, 2024 at 2 p.m, to which all family and friends are respectfully invited. Family flowers only, please. However, if desired, donations may be given in lieu to the British Heart Foundation. Wallace, Annabella. Peacefully at Millview Nursing Home, Barhead, on Tuesday the 7th of May 2024, Annabella Wallace, much-loved mum, granny, great-granny and sister to all the family. Funeral service at West Lothian Crematorium on Thursday the 23rd of May at 3 p.m, to which all friends are respectfully invited. And that brings us to the end of the family announcements for this week, so now we will continue with general news from the Courier and Jackie.
Thank you. Town split in Pavilion lease row, and this is by Stuart Somerville. Plans by a football club to take on the management of a dilapidated council pavilion have split a West Lothian town. An 8-week consultation in Bathgate exposed deep divisions between sports clubs and community organisations in the town and the rapidly expanding Bathgate Thistle Community Football Club. The decision means that Bathgate Amateur Weightlifting Club, which has occupied the changing rooms at Meadow Park Pavilion for more than a decade, will have to quit and find a new home by August. Objectors, including the town's community council, said the decision, which affects the park gifted to the people of Bathgate, flies in the face of the common good definition, that the asset is for the benefit of the whole community. The community council said the community football club was being unreasonable in demanding exclusive use of the pavilion and stubborn in its refusal to agree a solution which would accommodate everyone. Opponents of the plan said they had been intimidated One objector, Billy Weir, told councillors he was left shaking after receiving abuse. West Lothian councillors voted to support plans presented by officers from Property Services to award the lease to the Community Football Club. The council executive agreed to a 5-year full repairing and insuring community benefit lease. The pavilion is one of around a dozen across the county either being sold off, leased or demolished as part of savings the council has to make. Stephen Kenny from the Weightlifting Club told the local Democracy Reporting Service, "Can I just say how disappointed we are?" Mr. Kenny said the council's property services staff had known the situation the Weightlifting Club was in from the start of the discussions last year. He described the outcome as an agenda-driven shambles. The Weightlifting Club, first founded in the mid-1950s, has 14 members. It has argued in the past that the club and the town's Community Centre Management Association should be considered as a leaseholder. The club has been made homeless previously by the closure of the former community centre. Promises of space in the Jim Walker Partnership building in South Bridge Street were later withdrawn because there was not enough room. The town's adult football team, Bathgate Thistle, said it had been excluded from any discussions on the future of Meadow Park from the outset and feared the decision will allow the community club to monopolise pitch and facilities at a time when it and other football teams are struggling to find playing and changing spaces. The club did not object to improvements and welcomed the investment in the sport, but feared it would bring no wider benefit to the adult team. Robert Napier, the chairman of Bathgate Thistle, told the councillors that giving the community football club monopoly control of the pavilion is basically stifling our growth. He added that the consultation had created a fair bit of animosity in the town, and promises of consultation once the lease had been awarded might not come to anything given the ill will that has been generated by the process. The Community Football Club has outlined plans for refurbishment of the pavilion, including financial backing from the Scottish Football Association. They had offered use of a storage container to the Weightlifting Club to store equipment, and they asserted that they were prepared to strengthen and widen existing community links. And there is a photograph here of the 5 members of the Weightlifting Club in front of the pavilion. And I must say, there's one gentleman in the front there, he's dressed in black and he's got his arms folded, and his 4 other partners behind him are all looking all very determined.
Council crews on streets with giant vacuum cleaners. New tools sucking up rubbish from our streets by Stuart Somerville. An industrial-scale vacuum cleaner which sucks rubbish off the streets is the latest tool being deployed by West Lothian Council crews. 3 new teams have been created, redeployed from existing staff, to work their way around towns and villages, giving them a deep clean. And the machine, branded the Glutton, is their secret weapon in the war on grime. The council has invested £50,000 in 3 machines for the teams. The teams have already been at work clearing town centre areas in Armadale, Broxburn and Uphall, Bathgate, Linlithgow and Whitburn, as well as village centres in Blackburn, Blackridge, East Calder, Fauldhouse, Kirknewton, Longridge, Mid Calder, Seafield, Stonyburn, Torfichan, West Calder and Winchborough. Gluttons are in use across the world as eco-friendly EV street cleaners, able to clean street spaces that larger driven sweepers cannot. Local area committees have been told about the rollout of the new teams. In his report to Livingston North Local Area Committee, Simon Scott, an open spaces manager with the council, explained the role of the new teams. He said at a meeting, 3 new teams of 2 have been created from existing resources. They will work through the main streets of all towns and villages in a cyclic manner. These teams will be deployed to provide additional cleansing on top of the routine litter picking and emptying of bins that is already carried out in these areas of high footfall. The gluttons are capable of lifting small items such as cigarette ends and reaching hard-to-get-at areas such as tree bases, around street furniture and road channels where there is no access for the mechanical sweeper. The machines can also be used to loosen and remove detritus along the edge of footpaths and around street furniture, removing weeds by scraping them out and lifting them. This work will be additional to the current weed control carried out by the grounds maintenance teams. In addition, the teams will also pressure wash street furniture, benches and street bins during the summer months. Executive Councillor for the Environment and Sustainability, Tom Conn, said, "It's fantastic to see our new Cleaner Communities team are having an early impact on our town and village centres. We're investing nearly £3 million by the Council across street cleansing and environmental enforcement during the next financial year as part of a renewed focus on improving the environment in our busiest areas. A small investment in the right equipment like this can make a real difference and enable our staff to have the greatest impact with the limited resources available." In northern Livingston, many of the road signs in northern Livingston are blackened by what is believed to be the deposit of fungal mould, which is carried airborne from the nearby distillery. The fungal mould, Baudonia compancensis, is a byproduct of alcohol maturation, where what is colloquially known as the angel's share evaporates. The mould is found on buildings, vehicles, and even plants around the distillery. It has been called whisky fungus. Councillor Andrew Miller asked Mr. Scott at the local area committee, "I know the new team are more clearing paths, etc., but I think it's obvious if you drive through the area that there's a significant proportion of the road signage contaminated and black. I think we all have our own views on how this is happening, but are there any plans to get them cleaned up?" Mr. Scott replied, "I can take that back to colleagues in roads maintenance and highlight the concern. Road sign maintenance is the responsibility of roads department crews." And the story is accompanied by a photograph. The caption is "Clean up operation. The industrial-sized machines are helping the cleaning crews carry out a deep clean." And in the foreground, a man dressed in a bright orange high-vis suit, complete with an orange hat, is holding in his right hand the part of the vacuum cleaner that's going along the curbside by some grass. And behind him, in his left hand, he's holding the handle of the machine, which seems to be on 3 wheels, but it's facing front, so I'm only getting the front view of it. But it's possibly the front part of it is above his waist level, and there's a bit at the back which is probably up to his shoulder. So it's quite a big machine, even though it's more manoeuvrable. And the picture is taken in Linlithgow by Katie Weary's tree opposite the Westport Hotel.
Transformation plans for Livingston School by Debbie Hall. Pupils from Ogilvie School campus in Livingston have been chosen from hundreds of nominations to transform their playground. Garden Centre Dobies this week revealed the community and charity groups across the UK that will receive support to help transform, restore or start their indoor or outdoor garden spaces this year, including Ogilvie School campus in Livingston. Over 660 groups applied to Dobies Community Garden when it opened in March, and each store selected their local project to support from the nominations that were made. Ogilvie School campus will now receive a one-on-one session with Dobies colleagues in the Livingston store to start kick the activity, and teams will also support the winning group right the way through their project. In addition to receiving products, tools and plants, there will be volunteer hours allocated to help bring the project to fruition and keep their outdoor space blooming. Ogilvie School campus supports children and young people who have a range of complex additional support needs. The school hopes to develop its outdoor space and to make it an inclusive environment for all help and young people develop social skills, confidence and reduce anxiety. Dobby's support will help the school expand its outdoor garden and create a calm, sensory area for the pupils to enjoy.
Teamwork helps to cut police calls. Stuart Somerville's reported on this. The number of police calls about youth antisocial behaviour in northern Livingston was less than half of those elsewhere this year in other parts of the town. Joint patrols with British Transport Police raised the profile of officers at Livingston North Railway Station and the neighbouring shopping centre. There were 134 calls covering antisocial behaviour and youth disorder between New Year and the end of March in the Livingston North Ward. Sergeant Lee Brodie told councillors on the local area committee that compared to 376 for the neighbouring ward in South Livingston, which houses the Newtown shopping centre. In his report to the committee, Sergeant Brodie said, Police, in conjunction with the Youth Action Project and Safer Neighbourhood teams, have increased high-visibility patrols in ASB hotspots to deter any youth disorder and provide reassurance to local businesses. In February, officers from the community policing team worked in conjunction with British Transport Police, with all officers attending a joint briefing held by Sergeant Brodie at West Lothian Civic Centre, before going on to carry out patrols of multiple licensed premises in and around the vicinity of Livingston North Station and Carman Dean. Councillor Alison Adamson said, "You've definitely all been very busy. It's very impressive." There were 102 antisocial behaviour calls in the first 3 months of the year and 32 youth-related calls. In most weeks, these calls were single figures, apart from a 2-week blip in January, which saw 15 calls one week and 16 the following. Councillor Anne Macmillan, chairing the meeting, asked, "You were out with the British Transport Police. Does that suggest that there's been antisocial behaviour round the train station area?" Sergeant Brodie said, "Not specifically. We were having problems in Linlithgow a few months ago and worked with BTP. We found that was particularly successful, so we agreed that we would try doing more of the same more widely in West Lothian." The officer explained that he covers the eastern area of the county with railway stations in Linlithgow, Livingston and Uphall. The proximity of Livingston North to the Carman Dean shops and licensed premises made that an obvious choice for patrols. We did have blips associated with Carman Dean in weeks 41 and 42, that's mid-January, so it seemed like a proactive and efficient way to deal with things that were happening, he added. Officers also carried out bus gateway checks in February, again riding number 27 and 28 buses throughout Livingston, paying particular attention to the stops near to both Inverarmond and Deans High Schools and the wider Deans and Ladywell area, concentrating around the end of the school day. The gateway checks were launched last year following vandalism on buses and a surge of reported disorder, with a rise in the number of young people travelling on free bus passes. The patrols are as much about providing a reassuring presence to drivers and passengers as they are about engaging with youths and curbing antisocial behaviour.
Get mental health boost on the move. New activity programme, and this is by Debbie Hall. Craigs Farm Community Development is launching its new Community Wellbeing and Resilience Programme brochure highlighting the many activities that people can take part in and to also reduce the stigma associated with mental health issues within Craigshill and neighbouring communities. The new scheme was launched to mark Mental Health Awareness Week, which runs from May the 13th to the 19th. The theme for this year's Mental Health Awareness Week is Movement, Moving More for Our Mental Health. The Craigs Farm Wellbeing Hub is based upon and inspired by the findings and recommendations of the local community. The hub provides evidence-based prevention treatment, therapy, self-help enhancement and wellbeing support, and linkage to community services and supports for addressing the stressors of mental health. A spokesperson said, "We link service users to external service providers where needed, including access to debt support, employability, housing services, trauma support and more, thus ensuring an outcome-based service. Our services are also provided free to the local community in Craigshill, allowing those who typically cannot afford wellbeing services to receive the support they require." Craigs Farm, along with Environmental Health, Livingston United Parish Church and Andy's Man Club have been working together since the programme started in 2022 to support community members requiring assistance, particularly following the challenges posed by COVID-19, the cost of living and the fuel crisis. Together, Craigs Farm, Andy's Man Club, Livingston United Parish Church and Environmental Health are there to help those in West Lothian achieve their best possible mental health, providing activities that involve individuals in getting out, meeting new people and learning new skills and strategies to reduce stress, anxiety and depression. Craigs Farm and Partners also released an updated mental wellbeing and resilience programme brochure. The spokesperson added, "We encourage everyone to continue practising mindful habits for mental health and look after their mental health by taking part in our activities." And the story is accompanied by a photograph. There are 5 people standing in front of a standing banner which is all about Craigs Farm and its community wellbeing programme.
We have now come to the end of part 2, and in part 3 we will include the quiz. Welcome to part 3, and we will start with the quiz. Question 1. How many teeth should a human adult have? Is it 32, 28 or 30? Question 2. What was the maiden name of the mother of Queen Elizabeth II? Was it Bowes-Lyon, Windsor or Middleton? Question 3. Which sweet yellow liqueur consisting chiefly of brandy and eggs originated in the Netherlands? Is it Amaretto, Advocat or Limoncello? Question 4. For what sort of sweet is the French town of Montélimar famous? Is it croissant? Is it macaron? Or is it nougat? Question 5. Which American actor starred in On the Waterfront, The Godfather and Apocalypse Now? Was that James Dean, Humphrey Bogart or Marlon Brando? And question 6. On what day in August does the grouse shooting season begin? Is it the 1st, the 12th or the 4th? Those are the questions from the quiz today, and so now we will continue with more general items from the news and Kate.
Well, I hope you did well in the quiz. I think we're struggling here in the recording studio, but, between us we'll have got a full house. Anyway, bold decision for 10-year-old. Quinn takes a cut to help kids after he beats cancer. And this is A Schoolboy Donates His Hair, and it's a piece by Debbie Hall. A schoolboy who beat leukemia has been helping other children who are going through cancer treatment. Quinn Martin, 10, has been growing his hair for the last 2 years so he could cut it and donate his locks to the Little Prince's Trust, a charity that uses real hair from donors to create wigs for children who have lost their hair through chemotherapy. Quinn celebrated being 5 years clear of cancer by getting his hair cut while raising over £1,000 for charity. The P6 Bankton Primary School pupil donated 12 inches of his hair, while his mum, Janine, had 13 inches of her hair cut, which was also donated. So far, he has raised £1,179. With gift aids, it's £1,414, and donations are still coming in. And it's not the first time the schoolboy decided to give something back to the charities that helped him while he was going through his treatment. As a toddler, he shaved his head along with Dad Aidan in 2016 to raise funds for Jack's Den and raise some awareness for childhood cancer. Quinn was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in 2016, aged 2.5. His parents initially thought he had a viral infection after suffering from sore legs and other health complications. His proud mum, Janine, said Quinn was celebrating 5 years clear and free this year and has spent the last 2 and a bit years growing his hair to donate it to the Little Prince's Trust. He decided to grow it out halfway through Primary 4, so from December 2022 to donate it. His words to me at the time were, "I want to grow it out and donate it to all the boys and girls who don't have any hair to make them happy." He loves his new hair. He has always wanted long hair, but I think he soon realised it's not all fun and games, and there was more involved with long hair over the short. He said he wouldn't grow it out again at the moment, but will consider it when he's older to donate again, as he loves the thought of making someone happy when they are going through such a hard time. Janine continued, he actually lost his hair twice, so the initial part of the treatment his hair fell out, so we just shaved it all off. Then they go through a period in the first 6 months where they get a little rest from the real harsh chemo and his hair grew back again. But then they go into the final harsh bit, so he lost it twice really. So he has other children in mind when he wanted to help. He has always wanted long hair, but we weren't sure. But when he told me why he wanted to grow it, to make other boys and girls happy who don't have any hair, then just that had me in floods of tears, so of course we said, "Crack on, son." He said he likes his new haircut and his friends liked it. His teachers were really shocked. And in this piece, it actually shows Quinn at the age of 1.5, 2 with his mum and dad on a hospital bed. He's then pictured a large picture of him with long hair well past his shoulder, smiling, and then today's new look, which is titled Great Look, Quinn's new short look, and he's his hair in a very short cut, but looking quite spectacular.
Let's do right thing to help get this fixed. Council backs public meetings in RAC fight. And this is by Stuart Somerville. West Lothian Council have agreed to back public meetings for homeowners affected by RAAC RAC after a day of emotional hearings in the Livingston Chambers. There was a vocal protest outside the Civic Centre in the hour before a meeting of the full council. Campaigners are fighting for help over fears homeowners across the country could be facing potentially catastrophic bills over the presence of the unsafe concrete in their houses. And in the Chambers, homeowner Ashley Mitchell gave a tearful account of her experience since buying her home in Chestnut Grove in Livingston. She told councillors it was unfathomable that the presence of RAC in her home had been withheld from her and other home buyers. Councillors also heard from Ghost Estate campaigner Kerry McIntosh, who called for the council to back homeowners. She said, homeowners deserve assurances about the valuation of their homes. National RAC campaigner Wilson Chowdhury, whose daughter Hannah bought a house in Aberdeen only to discover within 2 months that RAC had been found in the roof, called on the council to support homeowners with calls to the Scottish Government and suggested the council could follow the example of Basildon in Essex, which had offered funds to relocate tenants. Councillor Damien Doran-Timpson tabled a motion calling for public meetings in the areas affected and said that council officers and registered social landlords should be invited to address homeowners. He said, "This is about doing the right thing for the homeowners we have heard from today and for those who may be affected. Let's do the right thing for the people of West Lothian. What we need to do is to get those who can fix it to fix it." Deputy Provost Peter Heggie told the meeting in a later debate, "The motion puts a bit of structure for the homeowners and put the council on the right direction to offer more support for homeowners." While there were widespread calls around the chamber for a united front from all political sides to move forward, there was still argument about which government should ultimately pay. The SNP had suggested an amendment but later withdrew and agreed to support the motion. And there's 3 photographs here. One of the whole of the campaigners outside the Civic Centre building, and they are standing with various placards. One, "We need your support." Another one, "Chestnut Grove homeowners, homes, 100% RAC." Another photograph saying, "Sold us homes with defects." And another placard, which may seem a bit funny, a play on words, "Save us from rack and ruin." And these poor people, they really are most worried, and that's what is portrayed in these photographs, are worried faces.
Cops in hunt for vehicle. Police officers are appealing for information on a vehicle which may be linked to a break-in in Livingston. Around 10:20 p.m. on Thursday, April the 25th, they were called to a report of an alarm being activated at a property on Thurlfield Wynd. When officers attended, there wasn't anything ongoing. However, access had been gained to the house. Nothing appeared to have been taken. It was reported 4 people were seen acting suspiciously in a vehicle parked in a nearby bus stop on the A705 between the Mill and Toll roundabouts between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. Detective Constable Craig Drummond, West Calder Police Station, said it's important we find out more about this vehicle to help track its movements and identify the occupants. We know it was parked in a bus stop on the A705 around the time, and I would urge anyone who was on that road around 10 p.m. on Thursday the 25th of April to think back. Did you see the vehicle? Perhaps you saw people in the area acting suspiciously. Do you have dash cam footage which may have captured something? Please come forward with any information as it may prove vital to our investigation. Anyone with information is urged to contact Police Scotland on 101, quoting 3800 of 25th April. Alternatively, you can call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 08000 555 111.
Survey reveals fear of kids by staff reporter. A survey among children in one of the poorest parts of West Lothian shows them wise beyond their years in heartbreaking understanding of life around them. The study among primary 6 and 7 pupils in Whitburn and Blackburn revealed widespread recognition of poverty and social isolation and the perils of addiction. Local councillors branded the findings depressing and shocking, but also pointed to the knowledge that socially aware youngsters would grow into adults who wanted to make a difference. In the survey, children were provided with the opportunity to draw or write what they liked and didn't like in their community, and were then provided with the opportunity to use a magic wand to change 2 things in their community. The children provided a list of likes, which included local football clubs, parks, friends, festivals, parades, the bike path, as well as clubs in the community and partnership centres. The dislikes were much longer and mirrored many adult anxieties. Typical responses included more help for poor people, more food needed, litter and dog poo on the pavements, drugs, drug dealers, not being able to afford stuff, and poverty causing stress. Other pleas included need more school trips and too many empty vapes on the ground. Chairing the meeting of Whitburn and Blackburn Local Area Committee, Councillor George Paul heaped praise on the report by a regeneration officer and said, "Everyone needs to read this paper." The survey was part of the new locality plan drawn up for the towns by West Lothian Council and its partner group, including the NHS, government agencies and third sector volunteers.
Memorial Day in Bathgate, Silence for the Workers. And this is by Debbie Hall. West Lothian has marked International Workers' Memorial Day with a service in Balbardy Park of Peace, Bathgate. A service was held on Friday, April the 26th, which included keynote speeches and the laying of floral tributes. The moving event also included a minute of silence with the Flowers of the Forest Lament, played by local piper Grant Walker from People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate Caledonia Pipe Band. The number of local trade unions and politicians took part in the event, organised by West Lothian Trade Union Council, along with representatives from West Lothian Council, nearby Balbardy Primary School and other groups. Deputy Leader of West Lothian Council, Kirstine Sullivan, who delivered the opening address at the service, said, "Workers' Memorial Day serves as an important reminder for us all to make sure that workplace safety remains a top priority. This year, the theme focuses on exploring the impacts of climate change on occupational health and safety. Thankfully, conditions for most have improved significantly in recent years, but it's vital we remember the lessons from the past and continue to learn from them. International Workers' Memorial Day takes place every year to remember those who were killed or injured in the course of their work. Originating from Canada, the event is now widely marked around the world as a way to highlight the need for improved workplace safety. The permanent memorial to workers sits in Balbardy Park of Peace near the Excite Bathgate Sports Centre and includes the slogan of "Mourn the Dead and Fight for the Living" associated with the day. And there is a photograph, and it's of the many people that were attending there, the pupils from Balbardy Primary School, other members of the council, and also the piper Grant Walker. The memorial itself, I would say, is on a plinth of about 4 feet high, stone plinth, and the slogan on the memorial reads, "Mourn the dead and fight for the living."
Thousands of council staff to celebrate 25th anniversary with an extra day off. All 8,000 staff of West Lothian Council have been granted an extra day's holiday this year. Councillors agreed to the reward at a meeting of the Executive to mark the 25th year of the Council achieving and maintaining the customer service excellence standard across services. A report to councillors said the cost of the extra day will be accommodated within existing budgets. Council leader Lawrence Fitzpatrick praised the dedication and professionalism of staff and added, "You deserve that extra day." The report to Council said, "In recognition of this achievement and the hard work and commitment of all staff to delivering excellent customer service, it's proposed that the Council grant an additional day of annual leave to all employees in a similar manner to arrangements for the recognition of achievements in the local government benchmarking framework in 2020. All 8,000 employees will be eligible, and the extra day will be managed as an additional one-off working day's leave for individual employees rather than a service shutdown. Arrangements for granting the additional day to school-based staff will be confirmed in due course. Only those in the Council's employment on the 8th of April 2024 qualify. The principle is that all eligible employees have the benefit of an additional day's annual leave. No equivalent financial compensation will be paid if the day is not taken. The day's leave must be used in the period between June the 1st this year and May the 31st in 2025. Moving that the extra day's holiday be granted, Councillor Fitzpatrick said, "I think we've been through a long period, COVID and recovering from COVID, and the one strength, the one great asset we have in the Council, particularly with the budget pressures on us, is the commitment and dedication and professionalism of our staff, who do their utmost to serve the community in West Lothian. You deserve that extra day's leave."
Lights, Camera, Action for Team of Filmmakers by Stuart Somerville. Burnt spaghetti may not sound appetising, but at One Livingston School it has been given pupils a taste of potential future careers. It's the title of a short film scripted and shot by pupils at St Margaret's Academy. Pupils have just wrapped, as they say in the business, on their first ever film in a year project with the help of the Scottish Film Youth Foundation. It's a first for both the school and the foundation. Film in a year runs in a similar way to a school play or musical, with pupils and teachers from various departments getting involved, lending their expertise, learning new things and creating a school-wide collaboration throughout the year. This project gives secondary school pupils the opportunity to create a film as well as undertaking all of the aspects of a film-making project from acting, script writing, producing and directing. Speaking at a recent local area committee in the town, head teacher Isla Wright said that the school has been selected as the pilot school for the Scottish Youth Film Foundation project. She added, "A team of young people developed and created their own film and undertook all the roles involved in the filmmaking process. This is their work, supported by school staff, and I have to say it has been a really exciting opportunity for providing pathways into the creative arts, which can sometimes be seen as something that young people cannot get into, or it's very difficult and challenging. So we are opening that gateway working with the Scottish Film Foundation. When we have our premiere in a few weeks' time, I would welcome everyone into the chamber to come along and see the finished project. It's absolutely fantastic." A spokesperson for the school said, "St Margaret's Academy is the first West Lothian school to take part in this initiative, and our young people have thoroughly enjoyed this process."
Help available for hoarders in National Awareness Week. This week is National Hoarding Awareness Week, and people in West Lothian are being urged to reach out if they know someone who is struggling. Hoarding is a mental health disorder, not a choice. Hoarding behaviour can be helped with compassion and understanding, but needs intervention. Help starts with education and connections. If you are concerned about someone who is struggling with hoarding in West Lothian, there is a dedicated service that you can contact. If you or the person being harmed is in immediate danger, you should ring the police on 999. And for non-emergency, Police Scotland can be contacted on 101. If it is less urgent, you can contact the Adult Social Care Inquiry Team Monday to Thursday from 8:30 in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening, and Friday 8:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon on 01506 284 848. That's 01506 284 848, or email adultsocialcare@westlothian.gov.uk. Outside office hours, contact the Social Care Emergency Team on 01506 281 028, 01506 281 028, or visit www.hoardingawarenessweek.org.uk/resources.
We have now come to the end of part 3, and in part 4 we will include the quiz answers and some sports news. Welcome to part 4, and we will begin with the quiz answers. Question 1. How many teeth should a human adult have? The answer is 32. Question 2. What was the maiden name of the mother of Queen Elizabeth II? The answer is Bowes Lyon. Question 3. Which sweet yellow liqueur, consisting chiefly of brandy and eggs, originated in the Netherlands? It is Advocaat. Question 4. For what sort of sweet is the French town of Montélimar famous? It is nougat. Question 5. Which American actor starred in On the Waterfront, The Godfather, and Apocalypse Now? It was Marlon Brando, the one and only. And last of all, on what day in August does the grouse shooting season begin? It is the 12th, the glorious 12th. Hope you did well on those quiz questions today. And now we will continue with more Courier news and Alison.
Football legends tee off to raise £100,000. John Hartson Golf Day is a huge hit, and the story is by Debbie Hall. A star-studded charity event has now managed to raise £100,000 over the years. The John Hartson Golf Day, held at Harburn Golf Club, has raised over £100,000 since it began in 2019. Organised by Walker Group's contract manager Jim Murphy, with support from his friends and family, the annual golf day raises money for the John Hartson Foundation. The fundraiser offers an auction, raffle prizes and a hole-in-one competition for a £30,000 car. This year sponsored by Advanced Construction, along with a day of golf. Held at the end of April, the event raised £11,000, tipping the fundraiser over the £100,000 mark, and attracted over 100 golfers, including John Hartson, former Rangers and Scotland midfielder Ian Durrant, and former Celtic winger Bobby Petta. Founded in 2013, the John Hartson Foundation was set up by the man himself, former Celtic, Luton, Arsenal, West Ham and Wales footballer John Hartson, inspired by his own battle against testicular cancer. The charity is committed to raise awareness of early symptoms, support those who are affected by the disease, and assist in the provision of medical facilities. Marking the 5th year, Jim has now raised over £100,000 for the charity. He said, "I work in the construction industry, which is still a particularly male-dominated industry, so the John Hartson Foundation and the work the charity does to raise awareness of testicular cancer is something that I admire and I'm keen to support. I get so much support from local companies and individuals alike with raffle prizes. It's these generous donations, along with the teams that take part in the day, that help to make the event the success it has been for the last few years, and I couldn't be more grateful. John Hartson said, "The John Hartson Foundation appreciates everybody who supports the charity. People are so kind with regards to putting on events for the foundation, and Jim Murphy, along with friends and family, has gone above and beyond with their support. We have a few regular events in the diary each year, a golf day at Turnberry, the charity ball in August, and a sportsman's lunch in November, and now the Harburn Golf Day is pretty much a permanent fixture in our fundraising cause." For more information on the charity, visit the website johnhartsonfoundation.co.uk. And the story is accompanied by 3 photographs. And they've clearly had a lovely sunny day for their golf fundraiser, so that's good for a start. And there's a picture of John Hartson with Jim Murphy, and they're holding up one of these big cheques that's made out to the John Hartson Foundation for £11,000. There's a picture of somebody playing a shot of golf, but judging by the face in the background, their expression is one of surprise maybe rather than delight at how the shot has gone. And the very top photograph has got John Hartson with 3 other golfers, and they're all standing in front of the clubhouse alongside a big car and several golf carts, and the sun is shining on everybody.
Livingston FC latest. 4 more indoor for Livy. Lions snap up further signings for rebuild by Andy McGilvery. David Martindale has added a host of fresh faces for Livingston's crack at the Championship next season, but insists they have no divine right to bounce back to the Premiership. The Lions boss is well on his way towards shaping up his side for next term, with 4 more players in the door over the past week, following the signings of Maidstone winger Liam Soule earlier in the month. Martindale has since snapped up Morton striker Robbie Muirhead and Linfield defender Matthew Clark, 30, on 2-year deal, while 1-year deals have also been handed to Woking winner Ricky Corboa, 27, and Linfield defender Daniel Finlayson, 23, who automatically get a 1-year extension should Livy be promoted. Martindale said there are 2 or 3 others he hopes to get over the line, which will be added to the squad he anticipates being left with after the Premiership season comes to a close on Sunday at home to Hibs. It's really important to bounce back, but it's a lot easier said than done, said Martindale. There are a lot of big clubs in the Championship, and we'll have no divine right to be in contention for getting promoted. You've got to earn that right. So not as easy as people probably try to make out. There are bigger clubs than us. They have stayed in the Championship for a number of years. I think it took Hibs 3 years, Rangers 2 years, Hearts did it twice, Killie and Dundee United have done it. But what I'd caveat with that is that those are the teams that are paying a lot of money for the Championship. It's probably the most competitive league in the country. I don't speak about League 1 or League 2, but when I look at the Championship, on any day, any team can beat anyone. So that's probably not the same as the Premiership in Scotland. Every team in the Championship is more than capable of taking points off one another. Martindale hopes his squad will be in good shape, and he said, "I think that it's up to about 5, but we're losing quite a lot of the squad, so it's important that we try to get our business done as early as possible. I'm happy with what we've brought in and what's in the pipeline. If I can get another 2 or 3 over the line, I think we'd be in really a strong position." I've always known that Robbie Happy, David Hopkirk, originally put him on my radar when he was the Morton manager Imrie, currently Morton's boss, spoke very highly of him over the years, and he scored something close to 40 goals in 3 seasons for Morton, so straight away that puts him on the radar. I would expect to keep around 50% of the current squad. It's really important to keep working with those who are left. I think continuity is one of the biggest things in football for me. Consistency and continuity, and you need to try and achieve both. Keeping 75% of the boys that have been playing for us in the last 6 or 8 weeks is really important. Livingston ended their 6-year stay in the Premiership with a trip to Aberdeen last night, Wednesday, and at home to Hibs on Sunday. Martindale said, "It's been a challenging season. It will be nice to put this season to bed and move on and look to the future. But we've got a game on Wednesday night. We need to try and get 3 points. We've got a game on Sunday. We need to try and get 3 points. For us, it's just about can we win that next game of football, and that's not going to change regardless of league position."
Tees up as ambassadors are named, honorary roles, and this is by Debbie Hall, and it's concerning the carers of West Lothian were delighted to host a tea party celebrating the appointment of their 3 new ambassadors, Nancy Baker, Mary Jordan and Moira Niven, MBE. These are honorary roles recognising the exceptional contribution people and organisations make by promoting what they do and also helping in many different aspects of the critical role they have in West Lothian, helping unpaid carers and disabled adults live a better life. Chair Anne Pike said, "We were delighted to be joined by our patron, Professor June Andrews, who also does so much in her role to promote our services and share her valuable knowledge and insights with our staff and service users on everything dementia related. Along with our CEO, Alison Wright, we were delighted to present everyone with a recognition scroll." And for further information from Carers of West Lothian, they tell us that they run a monthly information stand at Livingston North Partnership Centre. A member of the team is there every second Thursday of the month from 11:30am until 1:30pm to help with any inquiries. They can help with things relating to benefits, legal issues, needing someone to talk to, social groups, counselling, signposting, or referring to other services, as well as planning for emergencies. The stand runs on a drop-in basis, so there's no need to pre-book. And going back to the tea, afternoon tea, which the Carers of West Lothian had, and there's some lovely photographs here. Moira Niven is dressed in a beautiful royal blue dress, and she has her little insignia on her lapel there, and other ladies about it. Unfortunately, the ladies are not identified, so I can't give you any names, but we do know that Nancy Baker, Mary Jordan and Moira Niven, who I've already mentioned, were there along with Alison Wright and Anne Pike. And they're sitting at a lovely oval table, and there's a stand with scones and sandwiches on it, and afternoon tea is looking lovely.
Police target bikers. West Lothian Police cracked down on off-road motorcyclists at a notorious spot, with over a dozen riders being stopped over the weekend and 1 arrest made. Officers, as well as police off-road motorcyclists, carried out an operation at Green Dykes Bing in Broxburn over the weekend following reports of riders illegally accessing the site without permission from landowners. Police say that as the area is deemed as a scheduled monument by Historic Environment Scotland and is therefore protected, off-road motorbikes are not permitted and riding them on the land is an offence. During the weekend, 18 people were stopped and spoken to by police, with 14 warnings issued, as well as one man being arrested and charged in relation to various road traffic offences. Officers claim the man was drink driving when using an off-road motorcycle on the Bing, and a bike was subsequently seized under police powers. They say further patrols will take place in the coming months as they once again issue a warning for others not to ride an off-road vehicle on the Bing.
100 years of learning. Kirknewton Primary Centenary. Kirknewton Primary welcomed over 180 people through its doors to celebrate the school's 100th birthday. And this actually is a full double-page spread with 9 large photographs of the pupils all dressed in their red uniform, their sweatshirts, and they're hosting coffee mornings. They've got games. They're showing all the different trophies that they've won over the years. They're looking at a workbook that they've created, Kirknewton, 100 years, 1924 to 2024. They're very colourful, and the children all seem to be engaged and enjoying themselves. So the children had all chosen a decade to research, while some classes had 2 decades to compare and contrast. Parents, carers and members of the wider school community visited a showcase of learning event where the children shared their learning across the decades. A group of learners also ran a coffee shop all day with the support of a pupil support worker, Mrs Brownlee, and Alistair from the co-lab at West Calder High School. These learners have been working on their coffee shop all year and were excited to use their skills in a real cafe setting. There was also a visit from Archie, Victoria and Carol, all former pupils of the school, to tell pupils and staff about the school in their day. Throughout the weeks before the showcase, the children were challenged by West Lothian Council Museum and Archives Services staff Emma and Francis to design a new school extension using old extension plans. As a reward for the excellent levels of participation in this and for completing a treasure hunt created by the Parent Staff Association, the PSA, they received a school hat which was in the colour of their house. Emma and Francis also taught the children about oral literacy and challenged them to gather school experiences from their families for the archives. Their final activity was to showcase objects from life and school over 100 years. The PSA also ran a treasure hunt through the village using points of interest or historical reference for all families to take part in. They also organised a 100-penny challenge to help raise school funds and are holding a disco on Thursday night as the final part of their celebration. Potter Around, a local family-run business, are now helping make a piece of art to remember the event by. All 194 children will have their thumbprint on the plaque. Head teacher Kirsten Patience said, "It has been a wonderful time at Kirknewton Primary School, where the whole community came together to celebrate and educate our children. Children, staff, community members alike got involved to ensure a wonderful, contextualised learning experience and an amazing event. Thank you to everyone who helped us. It was fantastic to work with the community to do something special for the children. I hope these memories will stay with the children forever."
Health check. With World Hypertension Day on us, people in West Lothian are being urged to check in on their blood pressure. Since 2005, the World Hypertension League, WHL, has raised awareness through their Know Your Numbers campaign to help individuals understand hypertension and manage high blood pressure across the globe. The NHS have kicked off their 2024 Get Your Blood Pressure Checked campaign. For more information, contact your GP or pharmacy.
Lionesses set for a final day showdown by Angus McGregor. Livingston's strong end to the season continued with a 3-0 away victory against Stirling University, which has set up a dramatic final day of the season. Goals from Hannah Davey, Ashley Elizabeth and Natasha Frew saw Livingston record a 4th win in a row. The Lionesses now need to win against champions Queen's Park and hope second place Kilmarnock drop points against Boroughmuir Thistle in the hope they squeeze into second place and into the SWPL1 playoff spot. A bright start from the hosts saw Jess Murphy go close with a header from a corner before the deadlock was broken in the 14th minute. A nice through ball by Elizabeth was met by Davy, who cleverly cut inside before lifting the ball over the Stirling goalkeeper to give the Lionesses the advantage. Livy grew in confidence following the opener, soon adding to their lead. Elizabeth this time latched onto a through ball, volleying home for her 11th goal of the season and continuing her great run of recent form. A handball saw a penalty awarded to Livingston, with Captain Frew assuming responsibility and firing high to make it 3-0 before half-time. The second half was a comfortable showing for Livingston, as they played well and created chances, despite not being able to add to their lead. The result sees Stirling University relegated to the Championship, whilst setting up a dramatic final day of the season, where Livingston can still finish in the playoffs. Sunday's clash with Queen's Park will be played at Beechwood Park, with the men's team closing out their Premiership campaign at the Tony Macaroni Arena on Sunday. Kick-off is scheduled for 2 p.m. And the story is accompanied by a photograph, a head and shoulders shot of the Livy star, Hannah Davey. And Hannah is smiling directly at the camera, and she's wearing her football strip top, which is bright yellow with a black edged neckline and black flashing over one shoulder.
Next article is headed "The Brock's Eye Lowland After Clinching Title," and this is by Paul Thompson. Broxburn Athletic boss Steve Pittman admits their success this season has even surprised him after the team went from relegation candidates last season to East of Scotland League champions this term. And now he is targeting more glory with the Lowland League playoffs kicking off this week. Pittman took charge of the Brocks in January 2023, with the side struggling at the bottom end of the table before he managed to guide them to a 9th place finish. But this season, they have stormed to the title with Saturday's 3-2 win over Crossgate Primrose, seeing them finish 9 points clear of second place Musselburgh Athletic. The Brocks players got their hands on the trophy at the weekend, but the job is far from over, with Dalbeatty Star standing between them and a sought-after spot in the Lowland League next season. And Pittman, who is in his second spell at Alban Park, said, "We surprised a lot of people this season, including myself, but we knew if we got the right players in, we would have a chance. When we first came in, the team was struggling, and we managed to avoid relegation last year, but we got rid of a few players, brought some new players, and they all seem to gel well. They are the best bunch of boys I've worked with, so I'm really happy with what they've done so far, and we still have 2 big games to go. The Lowland League was the aim when we first came in. That is where the club wants to go and build from there. We are only 2 games away from that now, and we know there is a lot of hard work still to be done. But we will go down there confident. There is no reason why we shouldn't." A double from Errol Douglas in between a Mark Munro strike earned the Brocks their 23rd win in 30 league outings, and Pittman added, "Errol and Gary Brass," that's the club's player of the year, up front have dominated most teams we've played against this season, and when they are on their game, nobody can handle them at this level. They are too powerful, but the other boys have made the chances for them. We had a few beers on Saturday, had our Players of the Year awards after, and then I'm not sure what happened to the boys after that. I guess I'll find out at training this week. You see, I went home early, and there's a lovely photograph of 22 of them behind a big banner saying in red and white writing, Champions 2023/24 ESFL, and the guys are standing in their white strips and their red and white football socks.
Light fantastic. Stargazers across West Lothian were treated to a stunning light show as the Aurora Borealis made a rare appearance in the sky over the weekend, and it was truly worth waiting for, as the first extreme geomagnetic storm in over 20 years created an eye-popping display of multicoloured lights dancing across the night sky. Many of our readers captured the beautiful phenomena and shared their pictures with us. And here are just a few of their stunning images. There are a number of photographs on the page. There's 6 photographs. Unfortunately, none of them are captioned, so the precise locations are not known. However, they all feature the spectacular skies. The predominant colours are lilac, pink, and green, with shafts of light coming from above. My personal favourite of these photographs is one where there is a body of water in the foreground, and then the midpoint horizontal of the photograph, there is land with hills on either side, and above is the sky. The sky is spectacular. The sky begins with light at the horizon, and then above that, it's a mixture of lilac and pink, deepening to another pink at the side, the right-hand side of the photograph. There are shafts of white light coming down in the midst of all of this, and then the lilac and pink colours fade to a green colour, and thereafter back up to lilac again. And the beautiful thing about this particular photograph is that it's all reflected in the water, only slightly softened. So there's still the white light, the blues, the pinks, the greens, and the lilacs. And altogether, it's an absolutely heartwarming sight.
We have now come to the end of our broadcast for this week and hope that you found it enjoyable and informative. Please put your memory stick back into the blue envelope, change the address label and pop it back into the postbox. Until next time, take care, stay safe and very best wishes from Team 4.